DeVos. I'm not convinced the balance will turn out necessarily the way you predict that it will, and I still do have major concerns regarding the quality of work in the major professions. Not only medicine, which you've been discussing to some degree, but also engineering, law, law enforcement, and the penal system. These are very essential elements of any society, and you're relying on volunteers. Are you now going to assert, like you did with illness, that cooperatism will eliminate crime as well? Sagers. No, unfortunately, I don't believe it will eliminate crime any more than it will eliminate illness. I wish I could say yes to that, but I can't. However, I do believe that along with a significant decrease in health issues, the crime rate will dramatically drop as well. And by dramatically, I mean something like 80% or more. Most crimes can be directly linked to money issues. Think about it. The motive for most crime is money. And therefore, it would seem to follow that if money were eliminated, then the predominant motive for crime would also be eliminated. There are certainly crimes committed for other motives: sex offense crimes, crimes of passion, crimes that involve jealousy or hate, crimes where individuals spontaneously react emotionally, irrationally, and or violently in certain social situations. These won't be eliminated, nor will theft, although theft will drop dramatically because it won't be committed for financial reasons anymore. It will be committed out of a desire to possess something belonging to someone else, something that the thief doesn't want to take the time to produce themselves because in cooperatism they could, or that the thief doesn't feel they have the ability to produce, such as a work of art that they have a desire to possess. But theft for financial reasons will disappear. So yes, crime overall will reduce dramatically. DeVos. If things work out the way you conjecture. But speaking of the crime still present, how would this be handled in a cooperatism environment? Would there be law enforcement agencies? And if so, would they be included in this workforce rotation system and therefore not be professionals as they are in our current system? As I stated earlier, in cooperatism, there really won't be professionals of any kind anymore. Am I right? Cooperatism will basically eliminate that category. So we'd have the latest group of novices or non-professionals, if you will, rotated into that segment for that month, or we'll have a bunch of volunteers who are in love with the idea of being policemen. And these people will keep us all safe and protected. This does not seem very reassuring, at least not to me. Sagers. You're right, it doesn't. And obviously, that is not how it will work. First of all, the term professional in our current society, as one of its meanings, can be used to designate someone who is paid for their services. Its other meanings are then often assumed to be true as well. Bestowing this title of professional on someone often seems to infer that they must be qualified in some way, that they are somehow fully competent and somewhat of an expert. However, we all know that just because someone declares themselves a professional in a particular field, meaning they have opened their doors for business, that does not in itself mean that they are experts or even sufficiently qualified in that area. We all know of supposed professionals who have not produced particularly professional results. We also know of many individuals that do produce professional results, even though their skills are used as more of a hobby for them, as opposed to their main source of income. In cooperatism, the term professional will not be lost, but its validity in terms of any definition that denotes a paid occupation will disappear. It will simply be used to describe someone who may have extensive, proven experience and expertise in a particular area, as opposed to someone who derives their main income from it. Cooperatism does not seek to eliminate professionals from society. The term simply won't be linked to income anymore. It will be more a matter of competence and experience, which, in my opinion, makes far more sense. Therefore, in answer to your question, I do believe the law enforcement segment of a cooperative society will be comprised of professionals, those who chose to participate in and become skillful in these areas over an extended period of time, just as it is in our current society. The difference will be that these individuals will not be paid professionals, and they won't be exempt from participating in the workforce. Like everyone else, they will have to put in their fair share of time. There may be certain areas of law enforcement that are included in a workforce rotation, such as file keeping and data entry, running and researching certain information or reports, processing certain forms and paperwork, etc., that individuals could be easily and quickly trained in on a regular rotating basis. But if an individual has a desire to participate in the more professional aspects of the field, they would then volunteer their time to be trained and educated and therefore qualified in the various pertinent areas. These would be the individuals that would respond to and deal with the more serious and more dangerous aspects of the law enforcement segment. The term career or vocation will refer to the field an individual chooses to spend most of his time in, becoming knowledgeable and skilled in. It will no longer refer to what someone does for a living, but rather what someone does as a choice. DeVos. But don't you feel that without some added compensation that there may be an insufficient number of volunteers in these areas? Sagers. I do not fear a lack of competent professionals in any field in a cooperative system. In fact, there will most likely be an overabundance. People won't be forced into retirement in these fields. As long as their passion persists and their abilities are intact, they can continue to participate and be utilized. There will be no waiting for job openings. The number of people entering these fields will not be dependent on the amount of work available, and therefore the amount of funding available to pay them. No one is shut out due to age or lack of financial resources. Potentially, some of our best, most talented, and skilled practitioners in these fields may be those who find their true calling later in life. It will never be too late for an individual to pursue a vocation. In our current system, it can be difficult to start a new career due to time, funding, and family responsibilities. You may also feel like an outsider because you're trying to enter a profession that is typically looking for younger candidates who have made career decisions early in life, and so you abandon your dreams. And when this happens, society suffers because it has just lost, potentially, one of the most dedicated and possibly most skilled participants in that field. Our current system is guilty of many of these losses, creating barriers to major career changes later in life. And equally unfortunate, it forces young people to make early and sometimes premature decisions with regard to careers, locking them into a path in life which, in many cases, is not where their preference truly lies. Under cooperativism, there will be professional organizations comprised of those who are passionate, competent, and experienced, training and evaluating the new members. They will function as one large peer group, and the public will be able to consult with whomever they wish, getting as much advice and as many second opinions as desired. These organizations will welcome opportunities to use their knowledge and practice their skills. There will be no need to buy someone's time. There will be no exorbitant fees that feed a bureaucracy. As far as the judicial and penal systems go, the emphasis would be on helping these individuals, not particularly on punishing them. And again, I believe there will be plenty of people with a passion for psychology and the related fields that would be more than interested in studying and taking on these cases, actively finding ways to help these individuals. There will be whole organizations devoted to this, just as there is now, except funding won't be an issue. You don't need a money system for these services to take place. You only need an interest. And in humanity, the range of human interests is staggering. So, getting back to your original question, I believe there will be fewer criminal offenders under cooperatism. And for those who do fall into this category, there will be an overabundance of people willing and eager to help them. I don't think there will be prisons as such, but rather organizations with facilities to handle various offenders. There are no payoffs for deviant behavior in cooperatism like there are in a money system, and therefore a large, cumbersome penal system isn't necessary. So comparing the criminal justice system of both of these societies, cooperatism comes out ahead. Even if there are some problems with it, it cannot possibly become the huge bureaucratic money pit that it is now. DeVos. But don't the checks and balances of a money system, part of which is financing, ensure a degree of quality to some extent? To get funded, an idea must have a degree of merit. Sagers. I remember a point being made regarding a fast food chain. The question was asked, do you think you could make a better burger than the ones being made at a current very popular fast food franchise? The answer was unequivocally yes. So the next question was, then how does this fast food chain stay in business if the burgers they sell are at best mediocre? The answer is, the franchise is not interested in quality, but profit. If they can promote an image desirable to the public, produce a passable burger that can be quickly and easily prepared, selling the fact that it's a great deal, a great value, and portray the people that go there as being happy and enjoying life, then it will be a popular and profitable business. There will be no need to spend the extra money to ensure quality. You're selling image and value, not quality. Under cooperatism, the only criteria would be quality. Freed from the restrictive aspects of financing and profit, ideas will flow more easily, more experimentation will occur, and more spontaneity. There would be no reason to produce anything that isn't of the highest quality. We would no longer have to choose between quality and value. DeVos. But how about the quality of the work being done by the workers themselves? Don't you think that being employed and therefore having something at stake like your job or the incentive to improve yourself more worthy in order to get a raise or to be able to charge more for your services encourages people to do a better job and improves overall quality? Sagers. Well, suppose you're a supervisor for an assembly line and you know that shutting down the line costs the company thousands of dollars per minute. And your boss won't be happy about that because his boss won't be happy about that because the stockholders won't be happy about that. You then have a justification for letting a defect go or doing some quick fix. And so we hear about some tragedy taking place in a manufacturer recall, which often turns out, ironically enough, to be less costly for them than having to shut down the line in the first place, justifying further the original decision to ignore the problem. It's expensive to implement an improvement and/or upgrade a manufacturing process. There can be huge costs involved. Companies must weigh the pros against the costs. If doing things the old, less efficient way will still make us as much or nearly as much profit as the new way, then needed improvements may either never be made or delayed for as long as possible. And as consumers, we accept this as simply being an aspect of business. These businesses supply us with those much-needed jobs and incomes, and so the cycle goes. In cooperatism, there is no cost. Time is not money, and money is not time. We are all working together. No competing companies, only competing sports teams.